we're trying to shift the mindset of being like, okay, but if we can be a better partner, if we can do something, if we can improve something and show our customers something that they didn't know they needed, but they're sure going to be happy with, like we're going to start taking those chances and doing that.
Welcome back to Strong Conversations, real stories with the leaders, innovators, and change makers here in the building material industry. My name is Sam Marcoux, and joining me on this episode is none other than Sonny Bowman. Sonny, how you doing?
I'm great. Glad to be here. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for being here. Tell everybody, for the uninitiated, what you do, who you do it for, just who are you?
So I am the second generation owner and CEO of Dakota County Lumber, which is a building material supplier in the Minneapolis-St. Paul market. So we recently became a 2-location yard. So we are growing and thriving. Yeah, thank you. So kind of do a little bit of everything there.
So I think even on the website, you're Chief Everything Officer, right? That's what you've rebranded and redefined, which is what you have to do in this industry. You can't just do one thing. You especially if you're the owner, you got to be hands-on with everything, right?
Yeah. I mean, especially as a small business, we try and keep that really like gritty, do whatever it takes mentality. So like, is it the best for me to be, getting into the trenches and doing all the nitty gritty? No, but am I willing to? Absolutely.
Yeah. So second generation, my theory, and it has proven out in 24 years in this industry, there's 2 types of people that get into this industry, multi-generation, such as yourselves, or people who sort of fall into it.
Yeah.
Growing up, because the lumberyard was started by your father?
Yep. He started it 41 years ago.
Okay. So you grew up around it.
Yes.
But did you want to follow in his footsteps, or did you have other aspirations?
Yeah, I was really into school, really into sports. I played hockey, like kind of focused on that growing up. And I always sort of thought that the lumber industry was kind of dirty and boring. Right. And I didn't really understand what my dad did at all. So when I went to college, I studied political economics and thought that, I was going to go work for the State Department or, start an NGO and save the world. And then, ended up changing my mind after college and coming back into the family business. And I'm really glad that I did.
So what sparked the mindset change where you said, you know what, maybe I will become a second generation in this profession?
So I graduated kind of during the Great Recession, right? There wasn't a lot going on. I wasn't going to get a job with the State Department. Like people with their masters and doctorates were getting those. And so I decided to take a gap year. Went down to Charleston, South Carolina, and loved it. Stayed down there for a few years. But as I was down there, I was bartending. I was working as an EMT, just kind of doing whatever to pay the bills. And I started a professional organizing business because I just saw an opportunity. I'm like, I'm pretty organized. I can organize these, people's closets and their offices and that kind of stuff. And it was doing that sort of shifted my mindset around actually owning a business, because though I like organizing things, don't look at my house now, I have little kids, what I wanted to do and what I enjoyed doing was managing the financials and deciding when to hire and doing the marketing and, all the things that were managing a business. And my dad had always told me growing up that, business is business. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
Right.
And it took my own experience for it to finally click. And I think that part of me not seeing myself in the lumber business was the fact that I didn't see anybody that looked like me there. It was all men that worked there, save, one woman who was kind of the secretary bookkeeper. And, I didn't really think of myself there or picture myself there. But once I figured out that I loved entrepreneurship, it was a pretty easy jump.
Yeah. About a year ago, somebody told me the beautiful part about our business is that no matter what you want to do or what you excel at, what your talents are, you can do it within our business.
Yes.
People don't know that. It's not a sexy industry necessarily, but once you're in it, people don't really leave. People kind of figure out that there's something for me to do here. Okay. So you decide to go into the family business. What was that conversation like with your dad? Is like, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Just kidding. I think I want to do this. Was he nervous? Was he on board? What was that like?
I think he was relieved, honestly, because, it was post-recession and it was about 2011 when we had that conversation. So he was in the process of righting the ship and, had been a little more hands-off because he'd gotten to that point in his career and had to dive back in. We're Scandinavians, we're Minnesotan, we're, don't talk about things very much. So it was a quiet conversation. Wow. We were in the car going up to our cabin together, and then, finally when I was like, I think I might be interested in this, he was like, oh, thank God.
So good. So there's a relief there. What was it like when this became public to the team, to the lumberyard, to the employees, and all of a sudden, hey, Sonny's going to take over? What was their reaction in general? Were they nervous? Were they on board? What was that like?
Yeah. I think, when you're talking about this industry being a place where anybody can do anything and that people stick, it's because we have such good people. And my dad had incredible people that worked for him. And so, yes, I came in as a 25-year-old female with a pair of liberal arts degrees and like French and political economics. And like, don't worry, guys, I'm here. But because they trusted my dad and he trusted me, they trusted me pretty immediately. But my dad was actually really great. It was one of my first big leadership lessons coming in. He actually had a whole team meeting. And I remember like he sat me on a bar stool in front of all the employees and all of their spouses and said, this is Sunny. This is what she's been doing. This is what she's going to do. This is why I trust her. And I think that you should ask her anything. And they were able to, ask me the questions that they were wondering. That. Yeah. And just that openness and that honesty and the vulnerability on his part to say like, I'm asking you to trust me. And also like, I understand that you're going to have questions was really great. But
setting that tone as well as, okay, I'm here. You're here, fire away. And I mean, is that something that you've continued to have as the owner, like, hey, open door policy, come ask me anything and get to the bottom of it?
Yeah. And I think that, like have a little bit of like the resting face, right? So like maybe it doesn't feel like, I don't know if all of my employees feel super confident approaching me all the time, but there is a willingness there and we have just a ton of candor in the business. It's something that we've tried to create an environment where, you feel like your voice can be heard, where you can raise issues, where opportunities for improvement are discussed openly, where we admit our failures so that we can improve. And I think that whole culture that we've built really kind of comes from that first leadership lesson of like, we need to be open with each other if we're going to be doing this together every day.
Did you have a moment where, yes, you were the owner, you are in charge, but you had a moment where you're like, oh, this is on me now? Did you have did somebody come to you with like a problem or a question and you're like, oh, I'm supposed to answer that? Did you have that moment where you're like, this is me?
Yeah. So this is I think a uniquely Minnesotan situation to have. But so I, about 6 years into running the business, I bought my family out completely and became the sole owner where, the financial responsibility was on me. And I had always thought that I treated the business like it was mine. Something about like shepherding your parents' legacy and not trying to drive their retirement into the ground puts a lot of pressure on a girl. But so I owned the business completely. And about a week after we closed and I was the official owner, there was a cold snap in Minnesota that always comes January, February. And it was, 20 below, 30 below. And all of a sudden the idea that they were my trucks on the road and like the drivers that I was responsible for out in this ice storm. Like I had this moment where I was like, nobody needs lumber today. Like nobody needs to get their deliveries today. Like there's no reason why we're, and I had never felt it that deeply before. Wow. And so it was a marked moment in my mind where all of a sudden I was like, oh, this does hit a little bit different when it really is only you. I always had that safety net.
Well, and you're having the mindset of like, my team needs to be safe. They need to get home in one piece. And I mean, that's a pretty incredible moment to have, pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the culture. So there's a couple things about when people think of a lumber yard, I think in general, they do think of a more traditional, slower pace. You walk in, especially as an independent, for a long time, single location, they know your first name. They know your kids as a customer. Everybody knows everything, but it comes off as very sleepy and slow. It's not saying that's what it is, but that's, I think, what people think of. So how's the culture where you work? Because I know you are looking to sort of revolutionize the industry and bring us into the 21st century and kind of change that mindset. So how does that work when you have a culture that's steeped in tradition and then you have these ideas and really good ideas that you want to implement? Is there a clash there with employees and the culture itself?
Yeah. And I think that it's been a slow turn for us too. I've been at this for 13, 14 years now. And the people that we still have people that I inherited when I came in, and they're wonderful and they've stuck with us through a ton of change. But I love the tradition. I love that we are so rooted in tradition.
Right.
And the great thing about what we're doing now is that our mission is still the same, which is to do a good job and take care of people, right? Do a great job for our customers, get our customers their orders perfectly, be a good partner.
Yeah.
And because that end goal hasn't changed, and that's something that our team has always identified with, it's been a lot easier to bring the more slower to change people along.
Right.
Because, as long as we frame it in, why are we doing this? The tactics are changing, but the mission isn't. So, I mean, like I said, it was a slow turn. At the beginning, I asked a ton of questions. Why do we do things this way? And I think from my questioning, because I just needed to get to know the business, my staff was able to kind of ask questions like, oh, why do we do things this way? And them explaining it to me and like being free to question the process that always existed sort of opened a door for them. And we have been on this continuous improvement journey. Once you get continuous improvement as sort of a hallmark of your culture, it's easy to present and change things sort of more quickly because people understand they kind of have built that muscle. So it's been fun. Like culture of traditional lumberyards is sleepy. Like we've got a ton of energy at our spot.
Yeah.
It probably scares people. I don't know.
What was the biggest challenge or biggest change that you implemented or your team implemented where you're like, man, this is going to take a long time, or this is going to hurt, but we got to do it? Do you have one of those stories?
We've been through a couple of ERP transitions, and those are always terribly painful. One, immediately when I came in, we converted from one product to another product just so that I could have a better handle on the business and be kind of on an equal playing field with everybody. We've done some software stuff. Like we brought all of our products up online so that our customers can buy online, which like that is super, kind of a low bar for other industries. And we're still getting there in our industry. And a lot of these, like the tech changes that we bring in, we do before our customers ask for them. And there's kind of this mantra in the LBM industry, there can be, where it's like, well, we don't have to do that. We can get by with XYZ. And we're trying to shift the mindset of being like, okay, but if we can be a better partner, if we can do something, if we can improve something and show our customers something that they didn't know they needed, but they're sure going to be happy with, like we're going to start taking those chances and doing that.
And it's going to help build even further trust with your customers. And maybe bring new customers in, go, oh, what are they doing over there?
Yeah.
So as an independent lumberyard, you guys have unique challenges as well, especially in our environment where you are seeing consolidation everywhere in our business.
I hate to see independents go down, but every time they do, it makes us more unique. So I'm just riding with it.
So how do you survive and then thrive? I mean, you guys are growing. You guys are doing a great job. How are you doing that in this environment?
Yeah. I mean, I have this philosophy that, I can either be scared of what's happening in the market that I can't control, or I can try and turn it to our advantage, right? And so, with all the consolidation, like I said, we've become more unique. Like we are family owned and operated. I tend to go to events and, not be the absentee owner and talk to our customers and, really have that kind of personal touch and feel. And I mean, as an independent, we're able to be more agile.
Right.
We're smaller. We can turn the ship more quickly. We can really keep that intense customer focus. And, I look at the big yards and I think that if I had the scale that they have, I would 100%, I would do a lot of the same things that they're doing. And because I don't have to, we get to be a little bit more unique. We get to take some chances. We get to modernize the way that we do business. We get to try things and then back off from them, and then try other things until we find something that works.
No, I think that's important too, because like you said, I mean, the agility as an independent to say, we can try this and it's not going to completely break us.
Yes.
And we can pull back. Whereas in a larger company, sometimes it's like, nope, it's full steam ahead. We're pulling all the levers forward and we're making this work where it's too big to fail kind of a thing. And that might work, but it doesn't mean it's the best thing for the company or the customers all the time.
Right.
Whereas you guys can say, nope, that's not working. We're going to go over here. Oh, yes, that is working. And now we're going to double down and go even further in. How are you? So you personally, I see you on LinkedIn. You go to a ton of events. You're involved in the industry. Like you said, you're not an absentee owner. That network that you have created, not just in Minnesota, but around the country. I mean, has that helped as well in terms of saying, all right, I'm going to work with other independent yards and we're going to collaborate and see if we can't collectively be stronger?
Yeah. I mean, really early on in my career, I jumped into what was the Northwest Lumber Association. Now it's called BLD Connection, our local lumber association, one of their roundtable groups. And it was just, greater Minnesota, Iowa, the Dakotas. And it was a group of sort of similarly sized lumber yards and, just getting together and sharing ideas. And that was so helpful to me to get up to speed quickly. And I pretty quickly realized, like, I don't need to reinvent the wheel here, right? I can take the wheel that somebody has already made and just do it a little bit better or improve it or put our flair on it. And so I'm all about borrowing ideas and sharing ideas when we can, because I think that as each individual yard rises, right, then the industry rises. So we've partnered on, I have a group called the Innovation Cohort that you guys have, given us some assistance on, which has been great, where we have like-minded, forward-thinking lumberyards from around the country, independents that are getting together and sort of, using it as a think tank on, hey, how are we going to innovate so that all of a sudden some sort of tech innovation doesn't come in, catch us all by surprise and wipe us out? Like, how are we going to solve some of our own problems collectively together so that we can improve across the country and raise the bar? Because it really is time for this industry to kick her in gear.
A couple of years ago, somebody mentioned that our industry seems to be about 20 years behind society in terms of innovation, technology.
We have online bill pay now, though. It's so
I think
great.
we're shrinking that. I mean, I think 20 years was probably correct. It's probably more 15 to 10, so it's getting closer. But we're still a little bit behind what you're seeing other industries doing in terms of embracing change, embracing innovation. I always say everyone wants to be number 2 in this industry, and everyone wants to be number 1 because it's too scary. But if you have a case study, then you go, oh yeah, we'll go do that too. But like you said, I mean, if you're not out in front, if you're not taking a look at that, something's going to come in and just swallow you whole.
Yeah.
And that's the scariest thing. I'd imagine as an owner to be like, I don't want to be caught off guard. I want to be flat-footed here and all of a sudden get sideswiped.
Well, and I'm planning to be around for a few more decades here. Like I have little kids. They're 8 and 9 right now, and I don't know if they'll want to come into the business, but if they're capable, I would like them to have the option. So that means that, I'm doing this for a while. Yeah. So like, if in this next, 20 to 30 years, nothing changes, I'll be shocked. Right. So I might as well be leading it forward. One of our values at Dakota County Lumber is be proactive. And another one is taking ownership. And so like, if I'm trying to be proactive and take ownership of the fate of my company as we move forward, like I have to be looking around, looking outside, seeing kind of what is coming from other industries. And like, why not? Why can't we borrow something from another industry and adapt it quickly?
Absolutely. So you mentioned you're going to be around for a while, maybe a 3rd generation in the future. You never know.
Yeah, they're the ones that traditionally drive it into the ground. So got to give them the chance.
So what do you see? What's next for? I mean, you guys just expanded, right? So you guys are growing, but in the industry as a whole, what do you see over the next 5 to 10 years? If you had to put your crystal ball down on the table here and say, this is where I think it's going to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think in the next year or two, like obviously the wave of AI, coming in and helping us do a better job through our sales process, order entry, all of that kind of stuff. I think that's going to be helpful. I'm really excited and hopeful that delivery technology is going to accelerate pretty quickly, because so much of what we do as an independent yard is just own that last mile to the customer, right? And that's the thing that makes us unique and makes it so we can't be cut out of the supply chain is, we take materials, we repackage them, and we deliver them in a way that our customers want to use them. And it's, so many SKUs and so many different things. There's a ton of inefficiency in the way that we do that. And as a process improvement person, I'm like, well, would be a great opportunity for technology, but our products are, like some of them are huge, some of them are tiny, like packaging them, they got to go on individual trucks, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see like robotics, cobotics, some of the self-driving stuff, all of that kind of stuff come together, and to see how much more efficient we can be with that last mile.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, Sunny, thank you for joining us here on Strong Conversations. Tell everybody where they can find you guys. I know you guys have a social media presence. Yes. Are you guys on all the big social media platforms? Yeah,
we're strongest on Instagram. We're a little bit on Facebook. So we're at Dakota County Lumber on Instagram. And then I have a little CEO account that my marketing person is trying to push me to be a CEO influencer. So you can find me through the DCL account there. And then we're on LinkedIn. We have a marketing team that does just a fabulous job.
You guys really do. I'm very impressed. I follow you guys on LinkedIn primarily, and every time I log in, I've got my little computer right here. Every time I log in, you guys are almost pushed to the top of my feet. Yeah. You guys always have something going on.
Strategic.
So as a guy who's in California, I know what's going on with Dakota County Lumber up there in Minnesota.
That. So it's working and it's free, which is great.
Well, congratulations on all your success. Appreciate you being here on Strong Conversations, and appreciate all of you guys joining us. Stick around. We got more conversations coming soon.